How are your talks going with the president, sir? How are your talks?
Publicly under pressure to end the trade war, the Prime Minister in talks privately with the only person who can. A source tells CBC News Mark Carney and Donald Trump have had a few evening phone calls and exchanged texts since this meeting at the White House last month.
Trump and Carney are talking. Are you any closer to reaching a deal? How would you describe those discussions?
Guys, do you really think I'll answer that question? No, but I won't answer that question. We won't negotiate in public, and we'll let the Prime Minister do his work, and we will let all ministers do their work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Sources say Canada hopes to strike some sort of a deal by the time Trump meets face-to-face with Carney again, this time on Canada's turf at the G7 in Alberta later this month.
Let's just all hope they get a deal, but if they don't, we have to come out guns a-blazing.
The CEOs of Canada's biggest steel companies came to Ottawa after Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum doubled. They met privately with ministers and a Steeltown MP to push Ottawa to act.
They're suggesting a multitude of things that ought to be done with this reality, because this reality we have never seen.
One of those things, retaliating with matching counter tariffs on American steel.
The honourable member for Essex.
The opposition pushing too.
Facing enormous business and job losses, the very Prime Minister who promised to be elbows up is now allowing trade at the new Gordie Howe Bridge to collapse. The Prime Minister promised retaliatory tariffs.
Canada responded firmly and clearly, and we also said we'll support our industries and our workers as we get through this together.
Absolutely. The government has not announced any new countermeasures as they try to keep talks going with the U.S., and we now know that these conversations are so high level, they're happening quietly, away from the public eye.
Ashley, how rare is it for leaders to speak without the public knowing?
I mean, Adrienne, often when two leaders speak, it's standard practice for both the governments to issue a public statement sharing that they spoke and broadly what they talked about. But we didn't know about these calls and texts between Carney and Trump until today. And when asked about it, the Prime Minister's office told us it had no comment, and a U.S. embassy official said they're not going to negotiate in public either.
Interesting. All right, Ashley Burke in Ottawa.